action fanatics, the Bulletproof Podcast is back after a 1-week hiatus. I'm your host, Chris the Brain. Joining me once again, it's the Toyman, Chris DePetrillo.
What's up, everybody? Back to excite, back to excel at podcasting, back to, well, we're not doing the exterminating, but our subject matter will be doing a whole lot of that tonight.
Indeed. And we, of course, could not do this show without Ryan Campbell.
Oh, you're too kind. I'm pretty sure you could, but I appreciate it.
We absolutely could, but yeah, I'm trying to be nice.
I appreciate it.
It is a new month here on the Bulletproof Podcast. And, again, we took a little recharge last week. WrestleMania hangovers were certainly happening. Here we are. We're going to talk about Exterminator 2. But if you...
Are you broadcasting from T-Mobile basement?
No, I have nothing to do with T-Mobile. But if you follow and subscribe to our YouTube channel, you know that the original Exterminator episode dropped just a few days ago, and we also put up our Dale Jacoby interview in honor of No Retreat, No Surrender's anniversary. So if they're not subscribing, Ryan Campbell, they need to subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Absolutely. And if you pay attention, a lot of the theming of the backlog that we bring up is relevant to where the show is currently going. So if you pay a little, there's a little bit of thematic going on there of how we upload and are catching up on getting the archive up there. And we're not just pulling these out of our ass.
For example, coming up this week, we're talking Exterminator 2. We're going to have more canon goodness because we've got 2 more canon sequels, Revenge of the Ninja, and one of Ryan's all-time favorite episodes that we ever did, Missing in Action 2: The Beginning.
I'm going to try to get that one uploaded. It may take me 10 years, but I'm going to get it up.
You bastard. So that is on YouTube channel. Just search Bulletproof Action, search Bulletproof Podcast. You will find us on YouTube. And again, subscribe, click that bell gimmick. Do what you got to do.
All the things. I definitely appreciate it. Drop a comment.
All the thumbs, all the bells.
Mm-hmm. You could whistle while you do it. Do what you want. But yeah, that's all going on our YouTube channel. Ryan Campbell, you did a little guest spot to talk about some of your nerd shit.
I did. I got caught up, man. I usually I'm over here in the BPA nerd corner, just shouting my takes at the wall.
Yep.
But yeah, my good friends at the Geekscape podcast that we're doing a Andor retrospective every week, kind of breaking down the 3 episodes, were nice enough to have me on. So we broke down the first 3 episodes that went up last week. By the time you're listening to this, the second arc, so 4, 5, and 6 should be up. I don't know if I'm on that one yet. There's a kind of a rotating group, a lot of people wanting to get their takes in. So we'll see if I get called in again. But that was a good time. I was glad to be on there and talk about what is a fantastic series. But I am still covering it on Bulletproof Action, so be sure to check out the recaps, as there's a lot to cover with 3 episodes coming out at once. So I've kind of broken it down. They are kind of done in arcs, so all 3 episodes they're almost like mini movies every week. So we're covering those and then doing observations per episode. So there's a lot to get through. So be sure to check that out.
Yeah, as this one drops the next day, you should have your 7, 8, and 9 ready to go. So
quick. That's like, does that count as a penultimate episode? If it's the penultimate arc?
It's the penultimate arc for sure.
Yeah.
But not episode, but arc. Yes. All right.
And I know I was skeptical on it just real quick, but I do, after we're now 2 weeks into it, and I kind of get it, because there are usually 1 episode in those blocks that, if they were released by themselves standalone, would be kind of not much going on. So I've come around on the release schedule.
Well, thank God, because they were about to cancel it if you had not given your blessing.
They've canceled shows for less. Just look at
oh boy,
what was that show called?
I don't know. You tell us. The Master, starring Lee Van Cleef.
The one Acolyte. The Acolyte.
Oh, that's right. That's right. The Acolyte. You are correct. They did cancel that. All right, guys. Let's get in to the topic at hand. It is Exterminator 2. This one was released on September 14th, 1984. And if I'm not mistaken, you Managam Golan, you magnificent bastard, this was released the same exact day as Ninja 3 The Domination.
What a week.
What a double
Like,
feature.
Canon
What
was
a
just
double
like,
whammy from Canon.
throw it all out there.
Summer was ending, Braid. It's coming
Flood
out.
the market.
That's right. We got a September, that end of summer. You know, people aren't ready for summer to end. They want to get out to the movies right before fall starts hitting. That's a good little spot for, those kind of late summer action movies. So,
or they have so many movies going they didn't even know that they had two of them coming out on the same weekend. That's also very quite possible. But I love those bastards anyway. All right. That's what, 2? So yeah, this is a Canon film. And we're in Times Square right to kick things off. We're in New York City, where that was the site of the original Exterminator. So unlike Paul Kersey, John Eastland, he just stays in one spot.
There's enough crime in New York to go around. He can stay busy there.
And of course,
which is very random that he's staying in one spot, given the way the original film ended.
Why don't you remind us, sir?
Yeah, I didn't see it.
So the original Exterminator, and thank you for mentioning Paul Kersey, because there is a lot of Death Wish comparison making that we can do here. But the original film, a little bit more serious in tone, and it ended with the CIA having discovered his identity, and the detective who was investigating him, much like the great Ed Lauder helping Charles Bronson in Death Wish 3, it was Detective Dalton. He helped the character of John Eastland, aka the Exterminator, escape assassination, apprehension, whatever you want to call it. And the Exterminator kind of disappeared into the night at the end of part 1.
Mm-hmm.
And where we pick up here, we're back into the gritty world of early to mid 80s New York, that gritty, grimy Times Square feel. And the Exterminator has a scanner, and he's basically just listening in and going out patrolling like a Punisher with a flamethrower.
And it is Robert Ginty reprising the role, the very charismatic Robert.
I knew that was coming. I was going to say the fountain of charisma that is Mr.
for
Robert
sure
Ginty.
The word I would use to describe him. Hey, if you're a vigilante trying to lay low in New York, it's not a bad cover.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And to Ryan's point about everything being thematic, we can also make reference that Robert Ginty was in Lady Dragon with the late, great Richard Norton, who has been a recent subject of the podcast.
Richard Norton on our Equalizer 2000 podcast. He got 2 weeks, and he deserved it. He got to be the main podcast for 2 weeks. Good for you.
He deserves all the accolades. We're going to need to do that Ironheart episode.
Quit threatening me with that. All right. So yeah, he's listening in on the police scanner, and there's trouble at a mom and pop liquor store. That's been
a literal mom and pop liquor store, because that's what they call each other, Mama and Papa.
That's
right?
And there, 4 gang members against 2 elderly people, whose only crime was, I guess, staying alive and keeping their business going all this time.
Listen, Brain, these people are like 95 years old. They probably got like kids and grandkids that would be willing to take over the family business.
Are you
just hand it over? Go live upstate in a retirement home.
They may have
get the hell out of there.
They may have moved out. They may have moved to the West Coast or something.
Yeah, because their boomer parents wouldn't give up the reins.
All right. Well, did you? Some bitterness today from. Did you recognize Mom and or Pop from anything? Either one of you gentlemen, chime in.
They had familiar faces, but I did not go back and do my homework to look them up on the old IMDb chart.
Were they like part of the Israelites that fled Israel? Is that like the original ones?
Well, for Israelites, that would have to be where they fled, no?
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't. No. Pop was Dr. Clark in Death Wish 2.
Oh.
Okay.
And Mom was Mama Vincenzo in Murphy's Law.
Another Bronson link.
Yeah, the Bronson connection.
And yet,
is Murphy's Law canon?
Oh, you better believe it is.
Okay, I
You
figured.
better believe it is.
So it's a canon connection as well.
Well, yeah, and Chris, you had mentioned, the original Exterminator was more serious. Then Canon got its hands on it, and we get what we're about to talk about. Much like
me if you've heard this one before.
Much like Death Wish was a very serious movie, and then Canon got a
Yep.
hold of it, and we got Death Wish 2, which is where you can see Pop as Dr. Clark at McLaren State Mental Hospital. And
what did they do to Superman?
Let's not talk about that right now.
I was going to bring that up in my kind of like my wrap up, my final notes though. This almost feels in the shift in tone and everything like that, the shift in mood, almost like they were building up to Death Wish 3.
Yeah.
Like Cannon was trying to kind of get a feel for the over the top, just
Ooh, I like that.
sensationalism of the violent vigilante theme.
It was like a soft launch, like just testing the waters
Yeah.
to see how people would react.
Yeah. And this film, I'm sure we'll talk about it as it goes through. I mean, this one went through a lot of reshoots, some alternative scenes that have been missing, stuff in the trailer that never made it to the movie. This one was quite the project. And this was before towards the end where Canon was really suffering any problems. This was one of their problem children.
Mm-hmm. Well, Mom and Pop not only are robbed, they're murdered. So if they had these grandkids and kids that Ryan is talking about, hopefully they left the store in the will. So the gang,
probably not.
The gang, somebody's ripped Ryan off this week. So the gang, they take off, but who's in the alley waiting for him? But the Exterminator with his flamethrower. He gets two of the guys, just fries them to a crisp. When the cop,
And we should know if anyone's listening to this blindly, if they're just fans of the podcast and they're listening to this so that they may go check these movies out, the Exterminator wears a full welding mask with the flamethrower attached to his back, much like how your G.I. Joe figures back in the day would have the little
blowtorch
backpack accessory, with the blowtorch. You'd have the hose running from the backpack, put the little peg in the back. So it is not very comfortable to be the Exterminator, but he's making it work.
I would say this: what makes it relevant for all the young kids that listen to this podcast, they look like the guy from PUBG. I don't know if that's a common thing, like if they pulled that, but the character, like when you drop in and you wear a mask, it's a giant welding mask. So I don't know if that is.
I haven't played PUBG in a while. Is PUBG still a thing, Ryan?
I don't know. Maybe not. It's probably one of those things that comes back and then disappears every once in a while. Like,
did Warzone kind of take over for PUBG?
Kind of, but I don't even think people play Warzone anymore.
Again, I have to ask, are you guys speaking English right now? Anyway, so we get the two gangmen. They're crispy now. They're extra crispy. The cops show up, of course.
Winner, chicken dinner?
The cops show up. The Exterminator is nowhere to be found. But the news is covering the vigilante known as the Exterminator, who basically, on this story, to what you were talking about earlier, Chris, it seemed like maybe the Exterminator took some time off for a while there. Maybe he was laying low, but now here he is again.
He's resurfaced.
Burning people up for what caused it, we won't know. And the gang is watching the TV in their lair. And this is where we get the one and only bastard in the movie. So thank you very much, Exterminator 2. You
got out early.
You will not make the list, but you are in the game, I guess. And we get the grand entrance of the leader of the gang. Chris, it is X. It is Mario Van Peebles.
Great Mario Van Peebles, known for many things, but a little less than a year after the release of this film, he would be a leading man for Cannon in one of my favorite Cannon films, Rappin', which I did manage to previously cover on the site, even though the action is a little bit slim in that one. Yeah, for no good reason. But I wanted to make a reference to you that I think you will appreciate. The character of X, especially when he's got the shoulder pads on, looks like an African-American version of the G.I. Joe character Road Pig.
Yeah, he does. You know what? I might have to do a third.
If Canon made G.I.
Canon
Joe.
G.I. Joe.
Because you know which other one I thought about? One of your
Those-
favorites.
We're not going to guess.
I'm getting there. You understand about like build up anyway.
You can't have silence on a podcast, Brain. The people tune out. Those young kids go play PUBG.
People have tuned out already. I got news for you, but that's all right. If you're still with us, thank you. Red Brown. I didn't know he was a Canon alumni until most recently. Red Brown is your boy Chuckles.
Oh, you know what? That could work.
He could pick up a missile off the side of a vehicle and just throw it. And it's probably we'd have to scream as well, obviously.
Into the obscure G.I. Joes now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Good old. There's nothing obscure about Chuckles.
Yeah. Ryan Campbell's just instigator today. So yeah, X makes his grand entrance.
I will say, for all the charisma that John Eastland lacks,
Oh yeah,
X makes up for. There's a yin and yang in multiple ways between these two.
He's dripping with charisma.
And like glitter sometimes.
He's very shiny at times.
Yeah,
oh yeah. His brother was one of the guys who escaped the liquor store robbery. So that's good for his brother for now. And yeah, he's like basically telling me, oh yeah, this guy, he came up there and just burned him alive. Now the Exterminator is on X's radar. But the Exterminator, aka John Eastland, goes to a bar where he watches Caroline pole dancing. And when you're as charismatic and smooth as Robert Ginty, it's no shock, Ryan Campbell, that this woman decides to take him home.
She does. And one of my favorite scenes in the movie, Brain.
I know. I heard about it already.
They go into her apartment, which is pretty much spotless.
Yeah.
Okay. Like nothing's out of place. We only see a little bit of it. And she walks over to the coffee table where there's 3 magazines that aren't even like spread out. They're just not lined up perfectly. Mm-hmm. They're just kind of, perpendicular to each other, but stacked. And she says, excuse me, excuse the mess, which is fine. A lot of women do that. Yeah. They'll bring a guy over and of course it doesn't bother us. We're like, you're serious? You think this is a mess? You should see my place, blah, blah, blah. Right. Meet cute. Ha ha. And he's like, should I come back another time? Like, bitch, clean your place up. And I was like, dude, come on, man. Like, this place is spotless.
Yeah, what should he have really said? Like, grab your ankles or something?
Something. He's kind of cock blocking himself here.
Okay. But there's romance in the air. Wouldn't you say, Chris? Isn't this a wonderful love story that's developing so quickly?
Yeah, I think that we're getting... again, the death wish formula. It's like, let's establish something very early on in order to bring the danger and the need for revenge about midway through the movie.
I feel like I never questioned it, though. Even if they introduced a new love interest in the first 2 minutes with Charles Bronson, I was like, yep, I buy it. That's cool.
Oh, yeah. Bronson had swagger.
That's right. And he seemed like one of those guys that had his, fingers in multiple pies, maybe. Where if something went south, he could just kind of, call someone up.
What kind of pie was that, JR? Anyway.
Call someone up to put their finger in his pie?
What? Go check your own oil. Listen now. Now, when I say the charismatic X, I mean it. I'm not being facetious. X addresses his troops, and he's got a plan to take over New York City. And the start of this plan is to hit an armored car, take that money, invest it in their new venture, which is drug kingpins, and then just once they get that going, then just declare war on anyone else trying to sell drugs. What a grand plan. And man, you can really see that X has a bit of a god complex, I would say, doing some amateur psychiatry here. But
and very, very ritualistic too.
Oh yeah. And we'll see more of that here in a bit.
He reminded me a lot of like a Batman villain in that there is a lot of like pomp and kind of pageantry to like how he goes, but at his core, he is kind of like just a mafia boss.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So the armored car is hit just like they planned, and here is something I had forgotten about. But I bet our friend Will over at Exploding Helicopter never forgot it. Because a police helicopter shows up with the spotlight on these guys doing their dirty deeds of tormenting the armored car driver and stealing all the money. So what do? They being the gang, they'd shoot the freaking helicopter out of the sky.
Maybe you do your movements with your armored truck in the dead of night around like dark alleys. Just saying.
Yeah, who came
there.
up with that route for the armored car? Was this?
Yeah, so then you're going to drive by the abandoned warehouse with no escort at all at 2:30 a.m.
Vince Russo, have you joined us? Oh, you didn't say bro. Never mind. I apologize. Do-gooder garbage man, BG, played by Frankie Faision.
Great Frankie Faision from Banshee.
You know what I thought of the minute I saw Frankie Faision, and it had to do with Ryan Campbell's Rent.
Ooh, I don't know where you're going with that one. I am not picking up what you're putting down.
Well, your rent's due, motherfucker.
I gotta pay rent tomorrow.
Yeah, your rent's due, motherfucker, is what I'm saying.
I know what Brain's talking
I'm coming
about.
to America, Ryan Campbell.
That's right.
Okay.
Come on now. But yeah, so
not your adaptation of the stage play Rent, Ryan. We're not expecting you to write that for the site.
That's something Toyman would cover for some unknown reason, like rapping. Just because that's what he happened to watch. He was humming the ditties in it. I don't know.
Hey, we haven't had one of those reviews in a while. We've had plenty of great things like, the man Barry Chan filling No Surrender Cinema spots.
Goddamn Barry Chan. Barry Chan in the Count the Bastards list, if you want to go see where he lands on that. Check it out. Yes, Ryan Campbell.
I was going to say, it's no Spanish clown.
Oh, shit. That is one of the worst posts that has ever been on the site.
Was it during Actionversary?
Don't even remind me of that, too. Actionversary should be the purest of months of action. Right here next to me on this desk is a little schedule. Monday through Sunday of Actionversary week. Let me tell you, that's all I got to say. That's an important month, and come on. Spanish clown movies, for fuck's sake. Anyway, let's get back to this movie, because the do-gooder garbage man, BG, I should ask you guys what your favorite BG song is, but I won't do that right now.
Thank you.
You can't help but notice that this helicopter is blown up. Because who wouldn't notice a helicopter blowing up in the sky? So he hops in his garbage truck and races over, and he just like rams the armored truck, and the gang, of course, takes off. But they've got what they needed, Chris. They've got the cash, and they've even got the driver, and they're taking him like they're going to throw him in a volcano or something, but instead they have another classic villain move in mind.
Yep, they're going to take him down to the old subway tracks and make use of the New York setting, and the driver is about to become the victim of some New York transit vehicle.
Yeah.
Not just that, they like electrocute him. Yeah. They like hack into the lines and electrocute him right before he's hit by the train, which I feel like is kind of like putting a hat on a hat.
Well, they're sick people. These are not well people. While this is going on, X's brother was outside in a tree as the lookout. Now, I don't know if they had some kind of like call, would he have been able to, were they in shouting distance to go like hootie hoo or something? I don't know.
Kalima.
That's what they should have been chanting when they put the guy on the track. But yeah, John shows up and he sees the brother in the tree and he exterminates him with the flamethrower. So now X is really going to be pissed off with the Exterminator. Now he's messed with his family.
Typically never good. Never kill the main bad guy's sibling.
No. So then the next day, John, we should point out, he's out of work. So his rent's probably due, motherfucker, and I don't know how he's paying it. He's out and about. He insults a hooker. Then he sells his watch.
So yeah, he's like pawning stuff, being insulting.
Yeah,
a woman brings him to her apartment, and he comments on how messy it is when he's like homeless.
He's a great hero, isn't he?
This guy's an ass.
I think that falls in line with what the first film tried to do, where he was portrayed as being a bit of an unstable Vietnam veteran.
Mm-hmm.
And, his friend in that one, played by the great Steve James, when, he was assaulted and kind of led to the creation of the Exterminator. I think we're trying to get it here, but it's coming off a little bit more goofy, especially in later scenes.
Yeah. Oh. When we watched the first Exterminator, Chris, I was like, we should have covered Exterminator 2. And then I watched Exterminator 2. And while I do enjoy it more, and I know that may be sacrilege to some people out there, I do enjoy it too. There was some stuff in this movie that was like, oh, Ginty, you son of a bitch. All right. So yeah, he sells his watch to a gentleman who was in another Eddie Murphy movie, Trading Places. And that's when he's spotted by BG, and he invites him to do a ride along. And who doesn't want to do a ride along in a garbage truck? Right?
I'm raising my hand for you people at home.
Yeah, me too.
You know what? Now you think about it, though, in New York City, maybe, because I feel like there you would get an interesting take on the city.
Yeah.
As long as it wasn't at like 2 a.m.
Ride shotgun, and BG didn't say get in the back.
Because, yeah, he as well also seems to do his route at 2 a.m. Yeah. I know it's the city that never sleeps. But
and he's a freelancer.
Right. Like,
he's a freelance garbage man.
I was wondering, like,
so how does he know which ones to pick up?
How does he get paid? Oh, this movie.
Well, I would assume that it's really more of an independent contractor, and the city probably pays him for specific routes. That's what I would imagine.
Do you know who runs the sanitation department? I can guarantee you it's not the Boy Scouts.
The Exterminator's about to be fighting.
Maybe backhand, underhanded payments and bribery is part of your world, Brain, but it's certainly not part of this podcast.
Where are you coming from? Fantasyland? Anyway. The Mafia.
I dedicate this garbage can to myself.
All right. The Mafia has arrived for their meeting with X. And boy, oh boy, this old-time mafioso, he cannot believe... I mean, there's this roller skating dude. This is a whole thing, Chris. This is not the way they did business back in the day.
No, I mean, as a proud Italian, I can say with full certainty, there was no roller skating mafioso. Again, kind of like the precursor to Death Wish 3. We've got the roller skating villain here. We had the giggler there. It's like they're almost giving personas to guys that are basically going to become cannon fodder, pun intended, for our hero.
Very good.
It's very like Dark Knight with the Joker when he's
he's interacting
with all of his theatrics and maniacs to kind of the way they used to do crime in Gotham.
Right.
Kind of like that.
Right.
Well, especially with what we end up seeing literally moments from now with the whole we've got to test out the new drugs angle that they throw in here.
The drugs.
So they have their meeting. Okay, yeah, we can do that. We can do business. And hey, do you know anything about this Exterminator guy? But the mafioso, he doesn't know. He's like, well, we'll get you a sample tomorrow. So they do. This is a pretty good, like, on the sly way of giving these guys a sample, because we see our roller skating gang member doing a little roller breakdancing, street performing. He has the hat out, as street performers often do. And the guy just puts the little sample in there and walks away after enjoying a bit of the roller breakdancing, of course.
And no one's the wiser.
It's perfect. But yeah, they take it back, and to Chris's point, they're like, oh, we got to test this product out to see if it's good stuff. So just go abduct some random woman and we'll shoot her up.
We'll abduct some random woman while on roller skates and evade her boyfriend and any potential bystanders interfering by skating away with her over your shoulder.
Right.
I loved how like the boyfriend too just instantly runs to like the random guy that's outside the movie theater, and like I guess they're trying to say like he's getting stuck, but he's like locked up with this guy, and I'm like, why are you just run around him?
Mm-hmm. He probably wanted to get rid of her. So we go back.
No, please don't. Oh,
don't take her. She's so.
You're terrible.
I love her. I guess
she ate all my snow caps.
So, back to BG and John. BG, it's like, you could do this full time with me. Just ride around and pick up garbage and not get paid. Come on. All right. I'll do it. You know what? Why not? I'm not doing jack shit anyway. Oh, well, this calls for a celebration. Well, let me take you to my favorite bar. Oh, and they park where do you park this thing? Wherever the hell I want. Then they go inside, and guess what? Perfect timing. They get in, and Caroline taking the stage.
It's a dive bar with a burlesque show.
Yeah.
It's only in New York.
And if you look in the background while John and BG and Caroline are talking, I guess this is appropriate for the 80s since most of the executives and corporate types were all probably coked out at the time. But the guy with the dance moves, he looks like he's having a seizure as he's dancing with a woman just over their shoulders while they're at the focal point of the scene.
Right. It's the 80s. Do a lot of coke and vote for Ronald Reagan.
There you go.
So then, after Caroline is done performing, she's like, she meets BG. Oh, let's all go out for breakfast. So they all get in the garbage truck.
Classy. Guy gives her shit about his apartment, and he's getting them chauffeured around in a garbage truck.
But then BG notices that these two are a bit amorous with one another, and is like, I'm not going to be the third wheel in this game. So he dips out. And
not before doing some playful drinking and
driving. Oh, yeah, I did forget to put that in the notes.
Some like Modelo's or something. I don't know what those were.
So, then we get John, who's never driven the garbage truck. Oh, and the hilarity ensues. Anyway.
Look, he's a normal person.
Right, he really is.
He's not a lizard person in skin costume.
So they're driving. Like, oh, let's go back to your place then. If we don't have, I'll eat you for breakfast or something. I don't know. But the gang is out, and they're like, hey, isn't that garbage truck that screwed us over at the armored car heist? Let's see where they're going. So they follow it, and they look at the apartment building and see the light on, and like, that's where these people are. But then a cop is coming, so they can't do anything about it right now, but they make a mental note of what's going on. And then we go inside, and oh God. We get a Robert Ginty sex scene.
With like an awful lot of it. Yeah, an awful lot of it is like a close-up of his face.
Yeah, we don't, nor did anyone want to see more of Robert Ginty than they needed to, but just...
Like, there's that one point where he's just, like, reaching out, like, very slowly touching her arm, like, as if, like, he doesn't know if he should be doing it, and she's just smiling at him, like, go ahead, it's okay.
It's very awkward.
Well, you see, the lizard people have been studying this for a while, but they haven't quite figured all this out yet.
Oh, it's very awkward. So yeah.
Now, speaking of sexy things, I should note that we were talking about the woman that got kidnapped to go get injected with heroin, and her, goofy boyfriend acting as if there was like a wall in front of him is why he could not stop her. The gentleman playing her boyfriend, this was an early bit role for him, but that was Thomas Calabro, who, if you watched Melrose Place as much as I did in the 90s, you would recognize him as television's greatest asshole character, Dr. Michael Mancini.
Coming soon.
We've got a Melrose Place tie-in.
Yeah, coming soon. Essential
to
episodes
Exterminator.
Melrose Place from the Toyman. It also has nothing.
No, I mean, I think we'll
nothing.
go as far as Silk Stockings with that.
If Canon Films made Melrose Place.
Yes.
And you'd have Charles Bronson.
I
Showcase
do have a what if, not that, but it's a bit in that vein that I need to still flesh out. So yeah, they have their sexy time, and the next day they're hanging out in Central Park, and oh god, this is really where I almost shut the movie off. Because Caroline, again, she just can't help herself. Dancing is in her soul, and she will dance at the drop of a hat.
Well, let's not forget, Breakin' was already a success for Canon,
Oh,
and that's probably
I
also why
know.
they shoehorned multiple breakdancing
I
scenes
know it
into this
was.
film.
This was the year 1984. Breakin' was one of their biggest hits, and
They're soft launching everything through this.
Breakin' had already happened.
No, Breakin' came before. Breakin' was May of '84.
Breakin' 2 was a few months after this, because they got them both in the same year, because Canon
December
is an amazing company. So yeah, so she does her little dance, and then John gives this overly enthusiastic reaction to it.
Oh, the standing, the clapping, the cheering.
Yeah.
Definitely
like-
one of the whitest men you
It's
know.
like, dude, she already gave it up. So what? Like, you already got it. What? Anyway, he's so.
This is what the kids these days would call cringe.
It is, and neither of them notice that there's like gang members across the way, just giving them
Off in the distance, just peering over at them.
giving them the evil eye, the stink eye. And then
I gotta be say that I do the work ethic of this gang. I mean, all hours of the day.
Yeah.
Like it's middle of the night, broad daylight around lunchtime. They are putting in the
you know what that's
hours.
called? Being unemployed.
There you go.
So we do get an actual bit of breakdancing, and this is where Robert Ginty won the very prestigious 1984 Whitest Man in America award. Because he does some kind of little shuffle fucking thing, going back to the hot dog stand or whatever the hell. God damn it. This is an action hero, folks.
I mean, I get what they're trying to do for what's going to be coming, but yeah, it just doesn't work.
So yeah, Kara
trying to humanize him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and like this was
cold-blooded
his
vigilante.
This is his lifeline, his chance at a normal life. Like they're truly happy. But yeah, it's not taken.
Unfortunately for me, they humanoided him. Okay? I don't care for this gentleman. Caroline goes to use the restroom, as one does after they break dance. And but I don't know how the gang knew she had to use the restroom.
She broke danced the seal.
Oh, very good. The gang, or they were just hoping for any woman to come in and they would harass her, probably. So she goes in. She's, oh, wait a minute. You guys aren't supposed to be in here. Comes out running. She's screaming. John hears it. The cop on the horseback hears it. Both of them just take off in her direction.
John in the horse's way.
Yeah, idiot.
Like maybe the cop could get there if you'd get out of the goddamn horse's way that can run 6 times faster than you.
He's a horse's ass. The gang, perfectly time it. They just hit her in the shins with that baseball bat. And she goes down.
Like a diving swing.
Yeah, beautifully done. I don't condone it, but I'm just saying that was very well done.
It was impressive, yeah.
And then she's down, obviously, and then they just start beating the crap out of her, kicking her, doing this, doing that. Not surprising. What's the worst thing that could happen to a dancer? She is paralyzed. We don't spend a whole lot of time there. It's like we get the diagnosis, and now it's time to bring her home. We don't have visits to the hospital weighing this movie down. Canon don't have time for that shit.
Did you not see them dance in the park? Clearly their relationship is important. Let's move on.
So they bring Caroline home, and
John did talk to the doctor for like 30 seconds, though. The guy that looked like Joe Morton.
Yeah, and had to mention that she was a dancer. Oh, well, that's most unfortunate. Yeah, you think? But yeah, they get home, and once again, overly enthusiastic John. That he,
Again, a very cringe
oh,
moment because, and I will say this, and I don't think it's intended this way, but it goes back to the fact that John Eastland is supposedly not all there. And I know we're supposed to focus on the vigilante aspect of that persona and that PTSD from Vietnam and all that jazz. But to see him go so far in the other direction, I think if you break it down, this is a man who does not know how to control his emotion.
hmm.
So if he goes too far one way, slides too far back in the other direction, there's no happy medium.
More amateur
He can't,
psychiatry on this episode.
I think that's most
yeah.
men, honestly.
Oh, jeez. That's everybody's share. For fuck's sake. All right.
Definitely most boomers.
What is... All right. Well, Caroline, she can't be very enthusiastic. I mean, her whole life has just been altered in a very negative way. And, you could see at first she's like humoring him, but then she's like, nah, she can't do this. She's in a wheelchair now. This is a major life change, and she's got to process it. And you've got John decorating mirrors and shit. Go fuck yourself, John.
I'm buying fruit punch.
I'll go fruit punch your ass. All right.
Because he says that. He's like, oh, we got the fruit punch you like?
Oh, he knows her.
He cares so much.
Of course, John blames himself. And
I think that at one point I heard him say like, "Hey, can you clean this place up a little bit?"
No, John blames himself. He says everyone who gets close to him gets hurt. I did want to point out that it's actually BG's fault because he got involved with the gang with the garbage truck, and that's what they followed that garbage truck home, not knowing that it wasn't BG driving it that night. So
it's a great point.
Really, BG is the reason that Caroline is paralyzed.
If he just mind his own damn business, or let the police do their job.
That's also a nod to the first film and maybe a bit of foreshadowing for what's to come later in this one.
Mm-hmm. But BG's like, hey, what are you going to do? There's nothing you could do about this. So John goes back to his place and puts the police scanner on again. And, maybe a little exterminating will help clear his mind. Another way one could clear their mind is to do one-arm push-ups in a freight elevator.
So I've heard.
That's what we get to see X doing. And then we cut back to John, who's now helping Caroline with her physical therapy, not training. But it's clear, obviously the physical part of this but it's that mental and emotional pain that's not going to go away anytime soon. That's a lot to process. And, he's trying to help her, but she doesn't want anything to do with it. She is not in a good spot.
People were not actively encouraging therapy and that type of thing back in the 80s. People were kind of repressing their emotions or dabbling in drinking and drugs. And since Caroline is a pillar of the community, she's just unfortunately going to have to deal with the sadness and somewhat of a sad sack boyfriend. Not as much of a sad sack as your good buddy Tim Baker from No Retreat, No Surrender.
Oh, that's the saddest sack of all sacks. Then John talks to BG again. He's like, there is something I want to do. And next thing you know, there's a plow on the garbage truck. And Ryan Campbell, we're going gang hunting.
BG has a weapons cache.
We're going gang hunting.
Finally. Get some vigilanting going on in this vigilante movie.
Time to remove some garbage is what BG says. And then we get to see BG versus the punk with the nunchaku. Again, Cannon knows what people want to see. Ninja shit and breakdancing. And eventually
we totally skipped over at the movie part earlier. There is a movie poster for Revenge of the Ninja in the background. I did pick up on that.
Nice.
Nice little Easter egg.
Revenge of the Ninja, which is, oh yeah, that's right. Will be on our YouTube channel later this week. Or you can check it out on your favorite podcasting app because it is in the Bulletproof Podcast archives. They do get a hold of one of the punks and throw him in the back of the garbage truck as an interrogation method. And even after he tells them where this big drug deal is going down, Pier 3 in Brooklyn, if you want to know, they just leave him there. Which is probably smart because he probably would have run and told them that, hey, these guys are coming. Now, one thing I wondered is he could have told them any place. Why did, I mean, I get it. He was under duress there and probably wasn't clear thinking and was scared. So he just blurted out the actual place where this transaction was going to go. But I mean, New York he could have given him someplace way on the other side of town. Idiot.
And was there no way to climb out of the truck?
I don't know. I've never been in the back of a garbage
He just
truck.
lived there for the final 20 minutes of the film.
Mm-hmm.
At least he had some food.
He was
Scavenging, scrapping for food.
Disgusting. Whatever. So we do go to the big deal, and the mob has brought the drugs in a casket because very, very clever. Who's going to stop? Who's going to assume there's drugs inside a casket? And of course, X has his money, and everything looks like it's going to go down. But then here comes the frickin' truck. John and BG crash the party. Chaos. We get chaos is what you want. And BG's like, he jumps out. He goes to get one of the bags. But that wasn't a very smart move, Chris.
No, because he gets Uzi'd by X.
Oof. X gonna give it to you, man.
Pay with your life.
So after that, after losing BG, but being successful, and so it's kind of a bittersweet because, in fact, Ryan Campbell, they did screw everything up for X. But
hopefully
a huge cost.
I don't think he seems too concerned about it. I don't know.
Well, you know who he...
A lot of bad things keep happening to this guy, and none of it seems to really leave a mark.
I think that's just Robert Ginty's face.
Yeah. So he's lost BG. He's going to call Caroline, but she's not answering. And do you know why she's not answering? Because
X gave it to her.
Yeah, she did. And spray painted X on her naked body.
NWO style.
So one could assume that they didn't just kill this poor woman. You sick freaks. And now we get what we all...
Oh, gosh.
What do you got?
I can't say it.
Please don't, then.
Don't get us kicked off YouTube, Ryan Campbell.
I don't think it would, but it's terrible.
Let's get to the time to get to work montage.
At least she couldn't feel
Oh,
it.
my God. How do you know?
Oh, no, I don't know. I hate myself.
You should be ashamed.
I might be in a
self-imposed...
Self-loathing movie reviewer over here.
Self-imposed timeout over here.
You have to say like 20 Hail Marys or something. I don't know what you have to do in this situation. But anyway, yeah,
So
we get a
montage.
We get a montage. A time.
Very much like an A-team montage.
A one-man A-team. You better believe it. Building the ultimate urban assault vehicle. Although, here's a little fantasy matchup, folks, that you can hit us up with your opinion on social media if you'd like. What vehicle would win, this urban assault vehicle in Exterminator 2 or the one in Stripes? Cast your vote on social media.
There you go.
So yeah, after he pretty much has his new urban assault vehicle all ready to go, he does let the guy out of the back of the truck, and that guy's smelly ass runs back to X, and X is like, "You're the only one who could have told and tipped off anybody about where that deal was going down." Of course, the guy tries to deny it, but he thinks he's got an ace up his sleeve because he's like, "I know something, X. I know that the garbage truck guy and the exterminator are one and the same."
Bum, bum, bum.
And X, being a rule breaker, kills the messenger, even though you're not supposed to do that.
Snap your fingers, snap your neck.
Sometimes that's the best way to send a message.
True. So now X is like, okay, I gotta avenge my brother. Gets his guys together, and they track John down at a factory, one of the world's most dangerous factories.
Uh-huh.
They use every inch of that factory.
They do.
Mainly for like hide and seek, but they use it.
Right. So the minions are there first, so this is where we get to see all of John's handiwork, because he uses all the gimmicks in his truck to just take out the minions.
Added all of BG's guns to it. He's got rocket launchers on it now.
It's beautiful. It's a very nice vehicle. Again, is it better than the one in Stripes? Let us know. So of course,
I especially like his like claw machine gimmick, where all the bad guys conveniently stand in one cluster.
Yeah,
under the
it's like a
contraption.
It's like a Young Bucks match.
It's a cluster, right?
I think there's the same amount of people there too.
All right. It's now down to, of course, it gets down to John versus X. That's what we came here for, and this is where, to your point, right, we get the little cat and mouse. They're going into all these little places and up and down steps and catwalks, and
they start on the ground and they work their way up, and then they're going through the rafters, and I'm like, all right, cool, I'm with you. And then they go back down. Then they go into the basement, and then they go back to the top and go back to the rafters again. It just goes on.
While the Exterminator is carrying a bag with him, he's got the big, whatever gasoline tank, whatever's on his back.
It just keeps going on, and they like shot of him moving a little bit, shot of X moving a little bit, and then a shot of him moving a little bit, and then a shot of X looking around a corner, and it just goes on and on until X opens a bag and gets booby trapped to death.
Oh.
And that's it.
That's it. It's all it takes. It was, they built
no female flying a helicopter, no Gary Robbins.
No, Gary Robbins did not make an appearance here, unfortunately. But X is dead, and we get the classic vigilante just walking away
and
dropping his helmet and flamethrower as he does.
His buddy's dead, his girl's dead, but hey, at least some drug dealers that I don't know, weren't really part of his life anyway at the beginning of the movie are also dead.
The other drug dealers who were going to have to go up against X were very appreciative.
The power vacuum that was just formed that would be filled by others.
Very good. So there you have it. Exterminator 2. Ryan Campbell, I know this was a first-time watch for you. Please share your final thoughts.
Yeah, I think it's just I've seen all of this done so much better, whether it be Death Wish 3 or even just other movies. It's just, your leading man is kind of just a charisma vacuum. Movie really drags in the middle. I'm not really invested in anybody. There's some. I do like the soundtrack. I will give it that. There's some pretty good music from the beginning to the end. I was like walking around the house making dinner later, and I was doing the little beat in my head the entire time. So that did stick with me. But yeah, not a great movie.
I was going to say that was my one. David Spear, excellent job with the score on this thing. This one, I mean, I like it better than the original, but it's certainly not perfect. Certainly, and it has some cringeworthy moments.
It's almost a flip of a lot of the movies we've been reviewing lately that we said really lacked a great bad guy to elevate the film. Right. This movie was kind of the reverse. It had a really great bad guy, but it was disserviced by not having a good hero to kind of lift the film.
I agree. Chris, your thoughts?
This is one that I first saw in my youth. I don't want to say that nostalgia has kind of painted a rosier picture. There is a lot to critique about it. I don't completely hate this movie, but it's not one that I revisit very often. And, I'm reminded why.
Right.
Because I had to kind of, really go back and study it and, take a look at some of these things so that we could talk about it and discuss and debate and all that fun stuff here tonight. I would like to see someone like Vinegar Syndrome probably they might be the best ones for it. I know there were work prints out there. I know there's alternative footage that was shot. I know that this one ran into a lot of problems. Notably, you don't see Robert Ginty's face towards the end of the film, which is probably a good thing for you gentlemen, because that was his stunt double
Right.
under the mask, because Robert Ginty was working on another film when reshoots were done. So I'd like to see the full, the unrated, I guess there were some gorier scenes filmed. I guess, I don't think it really enhances much more in ways of the plot, but if there's a little bit more action to stretch out those dull moments or to make some sense of some of the silly stuff that we saw, I'd be willing to check out the extended cut or the unrated cut. But as far as the Exterminator 2 as it stands, it's in my collection. I don't outwardly hate it, but it definitely was done much better with Death Wish
Oh,
3 and other movies of its kind that were yet to come in the 80s.
yeah. 100%. Death Wish 3 is the pinnacle of vigilante movies.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there you have it, folks. Another canon movie off our list. This one is one I didn't actually see until I got my Eye of the Tiger 4-pack DVD, and it was on there. It was the
Oh, the one with Cyclone.
yeah. Mm-hmm. That's the first time I saw that Exterminator 2. So, and I actually, there was a commentary on there with some of the information, some of the stuff that you shared here, Chris. So if people want to check that out, of course, bulletproofaction.com is where you can go find that. And I think I also shared there was like a YouTube little like behind the scenes video as well. I think I put up there at some point, or just look for it on YouTube. And you know what else you should look for on YouTube, of course, is the Bulletproof Podcast and social media. Bulletproof Action on Instagram and Facebook, and at Bulletproof Pod on X and Blue Sky. And again, let us know about the urban assault vehicles. Which one do you like better? Which one do you think is the better one? I want to know.
Now, you mentioned DMX earlier,
I
Brain.
sure did.
Did you know, and maybe this is why you keep referring to urban assault vehicles, that the Rollin' remix by Limp Bizkit, which features
Yep.
DMX along with Method Man and Redman,
Mm-hmm.
is known as the urban assault version?
I do know that. I didn't until I went to look for the urban assault vehicle song, and that popped up on my suggestions. Or if I knew it, I forgot it. But I did see that yesterday when I went to go listen to Mr. David Spears' work. But yeah, there you go. Bulletproofaction.com. We talked about Andor earlier, but there's another series that you're covering, Ryan Campbell.
That's right. And it is the once a week, let's all get together. Last of Us on Sunday nights on HBO. It's been fantastic. And always a fun watch as someone who's played the games and really appreciated them, seeing the combination on X after the end of the episode of people who didn't play it and kind of experiencing these moments. But it's been a really good time. It's been a fantastic series. So check those out on Sunday nights.
There's a couple new Wellgo USA releases coming out that I will be covering. Chris, do you know what you're going to be covering yet in the month of May? Or are you going to keep that a secret?
I have been looking at options. I always say it might be time to go back down the old kung fu rabbit hole, but then something else pops up. So I'm going to need to narrow that down. I am not too sure yet, but I do know what we'll be talking about next time.
Well, I want to also mention that Last Bullet comes out on Netflix. And that has been a trilogy. This is the final part of that trilogy that I've been kind of going down the past couple months. But the day before, on May the 6th, Sniper: The Last Stand, starring our good friend Chad Michael Collins, debuts on Netflix. And that will be the topic of discussion on our next episode.
Boom. Oh, also, a quick
Agreed.
plug. Thunderbolts should be out as well by
Obviously,
now, too.
yes.
I'll be seeing that this weekend. Yes.
Ryan, you could check out Ryan Campbell's Thunderbolts review as well over on bulletproofaction.com. Any other things anybody wants to talk about here on the show?
No, I mean, I think we've given the world all the Ginty they could handle for a night.
Ginty. That bastard. Ryan Campbell, any other inappropriate things you want to say, or
No,
attacking any age groups? Or
Yeah, I think I got my fill in this week.
Yeah, I think you did too. So there you go, folks. We are back.
Let's talk about that airport out there in Cleveland.
No, you can. That's something you want to talk to my dad about. I really don't give two shits. I don't leave my house. I don't care. I'm not going to the airport. I'm not going to the Browns game. I'm not going. No, I'm not doing any of that. But yeah, there you go. All right. I think we've hit an hour. I try to make sure we hit an hour. I want to make sure people get at least 1 hour's worth of entertainment. Well, you figure in an hour, they might get 5 or 10 minutes of entertainment. So that's what we go for. But yes, thank you everyone for checking out our Exterminator 2 episode. And as always, stay tuned for more of the Bulletproof Podcast.